guess people disliked it as much as me. Have I got over 30 books on my TBR for this month? Yes. Have I decided that I'm really intrigued by the whole BookTok mystery of A Broken Blade, even though I have no idea who any BookTokers are? Also yes. So I guess we'll see if my TBR goes out the window this week, but I think it's a very high possibility. Honestly, I don't know what's happened to me today. I just feel so weary, and that's with me having a lie-in today. Like I've managed to stave off having a nap, probably only because the day's kind of gotten away from me and I kind of ran out of time to have a nap. I just feel like I haven't done anything today. Like, have I actually done anything? I don't know. Well, I did finish reading Our Dining Table, which was the Queer Picture Book Club pick for last month that I didn't manage to get through. And it was a combination of, I was having a really hard time with this person like struggling to eat in front of people, and like I think that's something that a lot of people experience, but I just found it like really hard. And I also felt like the story felt like it was missing bits. Like I don't know if it's me not reading that much manga, but like at this point I think I've read a reasonable amount of manga to feel like I know how to read manga. I just felt like I was missing stuff. Like overall it was kind of sweet, but also like a lot of the romance was like reading between the lines, so it felt very sudden when they were like, oh, let's move in together. And I was like, you've kissed maybe once. This is really sudden. Like it was cute, and the cutest bit was definitely the little boy, but I don't know, it was maybe like a 3.5 for me. And I had wanted to read more today and I just haven't. Like I think I'm gonna try and read like this month's Queer Picture Book Club pick, which is How Do We Relationship, Volume 1. Which I think is sapphic. And it looks like it's quite like chunky panels, so hopefully it should be fairly quick to read. And then I've also got Fangs, which is like 100 pages, and 2 volumes of Battle Royale. If I can get those done, I'll be happy. But also, I don't want to put pressure on myself. I don't know. I just feel like I'm in, well, I don't know if it's a reading slump or if it's actually like a mood dip. Because I just can't seem to kind of settle down to read. Yeah, I'm really struggling to settle down to read. But I'm also finding that like I can't motivate myself to do anything else either. So, I don't know. Probably should edit my Goodreads vlog though, considering I spent like the last 3 weeks reading the books for that. So maybe that's what I'll do for a bit. And I guess see how I get on. I don't know. I really don't know. So I managed to get a little bit into the reading groove tonight. I read some of How Do We Relationship, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I may read some more before bed. It's about like 6:30 now, so I'll probably go to bed within the next couple hours. But yeah, really loving it. I also been reading a secret book. I'm really, really enjoying it at the moment, and I will probably talk about it a bit more in a couple of weeks, but it is fantastic. I have no idea what genre it is. It feels kind of gothic horror-y, but it could very well be literary fiction with some magical realism elements, but so far it's absolutely fantastic. So, quick reading update. I finished How Do We Relationship, and it was so cute and wholesome, and I love the idea of like seeing like a couple go through like normal couple things, and just generally like I really, really enjoyed it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be immediately picking up the sequels because it feels like it gives you a complete story whilst also leaving room to explore the relationship further in further volumes, which is quite nice because there's nothing more frustrating than finishing a book and immediately actually needing to pick up the sequel, which makes me like really happy that I can hold off on getting the next volume. I think there's like 4 or 5 volumes out now in English, so potentially I'd have to wait anyway to get a full set. So I think the next thing I'm planning to read is Fangs, and I'm really looking forward to it because it seems like it's going to be really, really sweet. I think it's like a cutesy romance between a vampire and a werewolf, if I remember correctly. Overall, I'm just really enjoying having a week of manga and graphic novels, and I think this is exactly what I've needed after reading intensely to read those Goodreads Choice nominees for the past like 3 weeks. So I don't know if I'll be back onto like full-length books before the end of the week, but I'm having a good time. I am reading A Broken Blade, like I want to say it's like almost 500 pages, so it is taking me a while, but I'm just so intrigued by the whole like mystery of who wrote it, and even though I don't know anyone on Book Talk, so I wouldn't be able to make an informed guess, it is, the marketing's on point and like it's encouraged me to buy it. So far I'm getting like Throne of Glass vibes, but I'm also only a couple of chapters in, so it could just be common tropes. But I'm seeing a lot of people talking about chapter 7, which, like, as I say, I'm only a couple of chapters in, so that's still a wee while off. But also, like, it's pretty exciting that there's an exciting chapter that hits so early in the book. And then the final thing I want to update on is that I've been listening to One Piece. The audiobook is over 60 hours long. I'm listening to the new adaptation, well, not adaptation, the new narration that Audible put out, I want to say at the start of this month, start of last month, something like that, which is narrated by Thandiwe Newton. It's the mod translation, which from my research is the superior translation, and I'm surprisingly really enjoying it. I'm struggling to keep track of the characters, although I think as the story progresses, it narrows its focus a lot more, so it's a lot easier to keep track of the characters because you're only following a select few, whereas at the start it feels like you're following a lot of characters. Because it is the mod translation, there's a lot of instances of them talking in French and not getting translations or like context clues for what they're saying, but I also feel like you don't lose that much from the portions that are in French. I'm listening to it at 2x speed, which feels about right for this book. So I've got basically one more night of it, and I'm just looking forward to getting to the end and seeing what I think overall. But shockingly, I think this is a book that I will reread in the future. I don't think I expected to enjoy it as much as I am. Hi, I'm just checking the results of the Goodreads Choice Awards. So far, I've been pretty disappointed, considering The Spanish Love Deception won debut novel. And it was like one of 2 books that I DNF'd. So, not a happy bunny. So, see if I can get my predictions for the categories up. So, for Best Fiction, Sally Rooney won, and that is what I predicted. Mystery and Thriller, I predicted that it was going to be Stephen King, but actually Stephen King came in 3rd, and it was The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. For historical fiction, I thought it was going to be The Lost Apothecary, but it was actually Malibu Rising. Surprising no one. A Court of Silver Flames won fantasy, but Under the Whispering Door came 2nd, so I'm pretty happy about that. Romance, I thought it was going to be The Spanish Love Deception, but it's actually People We Meet on Vacation. Sci-fi was Project Hail Mary, which I guess was pretty predictable. Horror was The New Grady Hendrix, which again I thought it was either going to be that or Stephen King, and Stephen King did come in 2nd in that category. Humour, I had no idea, and it was Broken by Jenny Lawson. No idea. Non-fiction was John Green's book. I predicted it was going to be Matt Haig, and he did come in 2nd. Basically, my predictions are a little bit left of correct. Memoir and autobiography was Crying in H Mart. I'd predicted Priyanka, who came in 5th, despite apparently it not being that great. History and biography was Empire of Pain. This was another one that I just had no idea. Not even sure who I predicted for this category. I think I just went with Rachel Maddow. Graphic novel was Law Olympus. Interestingly, V. Schwab's came in 5th. Obviously, I know who won debut novel. YA fiction was Firekeeper's Daughter, which I'm really, really happy about. I thought it was going to be Karen M. McManus, but that came in 7th. So I guess people disliked it as much as me. It's pretty exciting seeing like the top 6 for that category, because you've got Firekeeper's Daughter, Hawthorne Legacy, which I don't know if it's diverse at all, Ace of Spades, Aristotle and Dante something or other, which I believe is queer. You've got Concrete Rose, and As Good as Dead also has a mixed race protag, so overall like quite a diverse top category, which is great. I'm so happy that YA has such diverse novels available to them. So YA fantasy and sci-fi, disappointingly, it's all the top names that are the top 5. So Leigh Bardugo won the category, and then it was Cassie Clare, Alexandra Bracken, Rainbow Rowell, Holly Black, and then Iron Widow came in 6th, which, to be fair, to come in 6th of all the YA sci-fi and fantasy that's come out this year is fantastic. But still, I can be a little bit disappointed that my favourite book of the year didn't win. Middle grade and children's Amari came in 4th, which I suppose isn't surprising because Rick Riordan won. Whoa! That category was close. So Rick Riordan got 24,836 votes, and Victoria Schwab got 24,368 votes. So not quite as close as, I think there was a category that had like 5 votes between the winners last year. But fun.
Gathered by the sea, sand people anxiously. Not once did speak to me. When tides came, did not flee. They each spoke the same, had the same dreams, same pain and same feelings. Staring at the sea and what was left of me. Found out, they tried to shout, but when in doubt, the facade of the sea staring back at me. Each led like sheep, stepped foot to sea, drowning oh so patiently. Sand people sit and wait anxiously.
So, I finished War and Peace, which I'm so happy about. Like, for no real reason, I decided that I wanted to read it in 2020, and then that didn't happen despite the fact I was on furlough for something like 3 or 4 months in 2020. It just didn't happen. So I was like, right, I want to read it in 2021. And I did it with less than a month left to go, but still, I read it in 2021. And it is a chonker, and it's got like those thin, like almost like Bible pages in it. So what I did was I listened to the audiobook, and it's the new one that Audible just put out, narrated by Thandiwe Newton, and it is so fantastic. What she's done is, I think all of the Russian characters have British accents, which weirdly enough I don't find jarring. I think because I know they're not actually speaking English, the fact that they have English accents doesn't jar me. But the fact that they all have English accents means that she's been able to give them regional dialects. So there's some really brilliant parts where the soldiers are talking in the trenches, and there's something really amusing about hearing these French soldiers slagging off the French in a Northern English accent. I absolutely adored it. But I think what's really made this audiobook is the fact that every character has a unique voice. And even though I was struggling with the massive cast of characters, which apparently there's over 600 characters, so no wonder, I could, even like half listening, tell you which character we were following because they all have such unique voices. So I listened to that audiobook and absolutely adored it. And then I went back because obviously I have the physical edition, and I don't know, I think it's like some kind of edition. I don't know what edition this actually is. It's published by Oxford University Press, and that's the title page. But basically this includes like quite a long introduction, and it also has an appendix, which obviously weren't included in the audiobook. So I went back and physically read them, and I do think it enhanced my reading experience because there were some things that I was like, this is odd. And then I read it and I was like, okay, that's intentional. And one of the things it touches on is the fact that this book deliberately is not trying to be pigeonholed. So like, it's a classic, but there's so much to it, and it's got elements of like society and like familial politicking, and then obviously it's got elements of war, and there's kind of historical elements of that. I don't know enough about the French and Russian War to know how historically accurate they were. I think Tolstoy did like ridiculous amounts of research to get as accurate as possible. But obviously I'm not going to use this as like decisive information about the wars at the time. So there's that, and then there's a third element that I hadn't heard anything about, and it's the philosophical. So it's got these 3 different elements, and I think the war element was by far like my least favourite, and is what really brought the rating down for me, because I found that the war elements were very detailed in places, but also for a book called War and Peace, it's not really about the war, it's about the people. And I really enjoyed that. And yeah, now I can say I've read this, and I plan on reading more Russian classics because I think this is something I'm going to really enjoy discovering more of.
There's a place in my heart